sit down and and then it's a preliminary practice because it prepares the body, the speech, and the mind. It prepares everything. But the main focus of what we do here in Buddhism is the work with the mind. So we're gonna prepare the body because we're gonna sit down. And today I'm gonna not make you sit down so much. We're gonna do some exercise, some running around. No, I'm kidding. We're not gonna do so much, just a little bit. So we're gonna do some prostrations in order to prepare because we did some actions with our body, speech, and mind that might have created some negative tendencies for us. We all have some negative tendencies. Like the other day, I was with a friend and he was biting his nails, and I said, "Why are you anxious?" And then he said, "How do you know I'm anxious?" And I said, "Because you're biting your nail." So this is actions that we do with our body that we can easily see that it is a coping mechanism, right? So doing prostrations helps to fight that, counteract those kind of like memories that we created for to kind of like create a bit of tension in our bodies. So prostrations kind of like release that as well. Okay, so prostrations is good for that. And then this is why we do prostrations with the body. Then we do with the speech. So we're gonna chant that mantra over there that is behind the door. So it's a mantra that in some very, 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 very short way to explain it, it's kind of like we are wanting to develop our body, speech, and mind. We are wanting to see the potential we have within ourselves, and we are kind of like chanting like a mantra. Mantra means protection to the mind. So it's a very useful when we are in line at the supermarket and you see your mind starts to become angry or anxious, and you're like, the mind starts like that. So you can start just doing some mantras and protects the mind for not going into those loops of, okay, you know what I mean? So that is what protection. It protects the mind from negativities. So when we chant the mantra, we are kind of like protecting even our speech. Okay? And we are chanting some words that says that, oh, because when we're gonna do the prostration, we're gonna do the prostrations to the Buddhas. But who are the Buddhas? Is that these gods over there, kind of like, oh, come and save us? Not like this. The Buddhas just it's kind of like it's a picture or a representation of our own potential. So the Buddha is just like our future selves. Let's say like this. We can all become Buddhas. Okay? And don't think that you need to become a monk or need to become like a man, because we also have women, nothing like this. Not about the representation, the physical representation, but it's more about the qualities of them, right? The qualities that we can achieve. So that's what we do. When we do prostrations, we are prostrating with our body, speech, and mind. That's why we say that when we are prostrating, it's a very special and important exercise or practice of humility, because we are right now realizing that we don't have these qualities yet. We have the potential within ourselves. We have a body, a speech, and a mind that we can use it, but we need to practice. So it's kind of like putting a little bit of humility and saying, okay, I'm not there yet, but I want to get there, which is kind of nice for most of us, especially for me. That's why I do many prostrations every day. I have a big ego, so it's very good to have to do prostrations. So we're gonna touch our crown first. Oh, first we're gonna put the hands like this. We're gonna tuck our how do you say this? Thumbs, the thumbs inside, as if we are kind of like holding a precious jewel, as we say. We're holding something very. If we do it like this, it's like we break. We're doing something very gentle, and the right hand symbolizes the compassion, the method that we're gonna use, and the left symbolizes the wisdom that we need in order to transform our minds. So we put it like this, and we're gonna put this. We're gonna touch the crown of our head, symbolize that we want to develop all the qualities. And then we touch our forehead as if we want to develop all our qualities of our body, our speech, and our mind. Okay? So we're gonna do this, like this, like this. And while we can chant the mantra if we can't, doesn't matter. If you don't want to do it, also doesn't matter. You can just do prostration like this. If you have problems, anything, just do it like that if you want. That's it. And we're gonna touch our knees, our hands, and our forehead. Okay, so it's like that's why it's called the 5 points prostration. Okay, because we touch the ground 5 points. Okay, so let's do it. So we can visualize in front of us our teachers, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who are there, just looking at us with a kind gaze, accepting us exactly as we are, and saying, if you want me to help you, I will definitely help you. But we need to request their help, right? We need to want. Like everything in life, if we want to learn something, it first needs to come from us. So we can chant the mantra. Om Namo Manju Shriye Namo Su Shriye Namo Tama Shriye Soha Om Namo Manju Shriye Namo Su Shriye Namo Tama Shriye Soha Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Su Shri Namo Tama Shri Soha. Oh yeah. And is Nana there? No, no. Can you check for the prayers? Yeah. Thank you, dear. Hmm. Everybody okay over there online? Yes. Very good. Okay. So, welcome. Welcome back. I think most people here, is your first time here? Yes? Oh, very good. Welcome. Is it your first time here? No, you came before? Okay, very nice. So normally before we start any activities, we start with a motivation, an intention. It's funny because we say that as if it is something that is kind of, we are forcing it. No, but in reality, we are doing it all the time. Everything that we do is coming from a motivational intention. The problem is that we are not aware at all. We have no idea what is this intention, where is this intention. It's just completely automatic. We are just living it, and then because we have no idea of what is our intention, then we act in certain ways, and then we have some results, and we are like, "How this happened to me?" So then we Buddhists, if it is something bad to others, we say karma. Ah, it's karma, you know? But if it is something bad to us, we ask ourselves, why me? Why this happened to me? Because we use karma as if it is for the others, not for us. But we don't understand that karma is just cause and effect. And cause and effect means that it has to have a cause. And the cause is our intention, our motivation for doing things. So for us right now, very easy to see our motivation. We don't even need to force anything, to do anything. It's very easy. It's just one. Me, myself, and I. That is our ingrained motivation that comes up effortlessly, spontaneously. I need something for me. I want this. I woke up and I already started to think about my day, my days, my da 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 da. What do I need? I need this. It's just that. So, what we are trying to do when we are saying that we need to create a motivation here, we are trying to counteract, we are trying to transform that underlying automatic type of motivation into something that is a little bit bigger than just ourselves. Because if we think about it, we look around, everything that we want, everything that we desire, everything that we want to accomplish, it not depends only on us, but it depends on others, right? So if we just think about ourselves and only fulfilling our desires and our wishes, how can we achieve what we want? If everything that we want depends on others. We all want here happiness, you know, And happiness is a difficult word to use, but we use it quite a lot. But we all want, to feel love, to be loved, to find kindness, to feel kindness, right? We like when someone is nice to us, right? That's fine. That's okay. Nothing wrong. But then what we do, we treat the person badly and we want the person to treat us well. That's not very smart of us. So then we don't create that relation of cause and effect. Yesterday I was going to Miami to visit a cousin and I took the train, the tri-rail, like here. It was very nice. I don't know why America doesn't have more trains. It would be very nice. And then there was this guy, he was sitting, and then he said, "Are you a Buddhist monk?" And I said, "Yes." And then he said, "Oh, because I have this, fat belly kind of like Buddha in my house. So what I need to do for him to give me things?" And then I said, give you things. And he said, "Yes, because some people say that if you rub the belly, you give something." And I said, yeah, I understand, but only this doesn't work. You need to offer things to the Buddha. And they say, "How you mean? What do you mean?" I say, "Well, if you make generosity, then you gain generosity, right? This is what we call karma." I did that in 2 minutes in the conversation with the guy. This is karma. Then, whatever you do, you're going to receive. So if you're kind to others, you're going to receive kindness. If you are, generous to others, you're going to receive generosity. I'll do this. So if I want food, I offer food. If I want money, I offer money. I say, yes, you do like this. But also when you see someone on the street, you also give money. Because they're like that. He was like looking with these eyes of like a light, like a light on his mind. And then I said, wow, it's so simple in a way, but we don't see it like that. So that's why it's so important that we try to remind ourselves of this. So that's why before every situation, whatever we do, especially when you wake up in the morning, when you wake up, when the mind, don't touch your phone yet, when the mind is still not bothered or full of new information, of the day, try to generate a good motivation for the day. Try to be with yourself and say, okay, I'm alive in this life. I'm alive today. What do I want? Maybe I can try to be a bit kinder, to me, to others. And then if you have a partner, you look to the other side and you see your partner, then you say, wow, so kind, doing so many things to me. And then let me be nice to them as well. So and then you think about all the people you're going to meet, people at work and all of these, and then maybe you know that someone is struggling with something, and then you think, well, may I be able to, also be nice to these people? Just that. It doesn't need to be crazy thing. Oh, may I benefit all of them until enlightenment? None of that. Just like, may I be nice to them, right? Just nice. Not that much, but sometimes it needs an effort. And that's why we are kind of like creating this habit of doing this again and again and again and again and again, just to create that habit. Because unfortunately, it's not yet automatic, you know? But with time, like everything else, comes easier. So then you wake up, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and normally he has sometimes some quotes, and like that thing over there, the banner, and sometimes they have written on that, or maybe just a piece of paper. It's very beautiful because His Holiness talks about and is about like the motivation for life, and he says we're gonna be in this life maybe 70, 80, 90 years, right? This earth. After that, we're gonna die. So let's use this time that we have here wisely. Let's leave this planet a little bit better where how we find it. Just that. Just that. He said that this is the meaning of life. Beautiful if you think about it. Very simple, very profound. So that's what we can do. Doesn't need to be hocus pocus and sit down and meditate and incense and waters and then like this. Just wake up and have that feeling inside of yourself. Generate that mind, generate that experience. And then you tell me, you do that for 1 week or more, 10 days or The more you do it, and then you tell me how was your experience, how this transformed your days. Because this is gonna create an energy throughout your entire day. Not only but that's how it is. So that's what we can do. So that's what we're gonna do now. This was the pep talk. A pep talk for us to do our motivation. Okay. So we're just gonna take a few moments just to sit down, and we don't need to go too much into posture meditation. No, just feel yourself sitting here in this gompa or at home, wherever you are. Connect with your body just a little bit. Checking if there's any tension. Try to really relax the body. The shoulders. Normally we carry a lot of weight on our shoulders, emotional weight. Also in our face. So just check if you are a little bit tense in the face and just try to relax. And we can deep breathe, give deep breath a couple of times just to bring more oxygen. I'm aware of our breathing. Mm. And then we can start checking our mind, checking what is going on right now. Just as you are watching a movie, you don't go in the story, you don't try now to argue with yourself. Just watch whatever is there. And we can start thinking how fortunate we are that we are alive, that we are in many ways healthy, that we are in many ways able to have a house, food, outside conditions that are very generous to us and our needs. We also have family, friends, and people in our lives that support us, that we are able to experience pleasant feelings like love, friendship, compassion, kindness, generosity. And we have all of these inner and outer conditions. And we came here because we also have a strong wish to find more satisfying, more long-term type of happiness. We can see that even with all of these conditions, we still get angry, upset, sad, sometimes even depressed. When things don't go our way or something strong happens to us, we fall apart. And we are a bit tired of that. So we came to experience and to try this method that the Buddha came up with 2,500 years ago of finding the answers to these questions within ourselves, not outside. And for that, we need honesty, courage, and a lot of softness and kindness towards ourselves to go within. Courageously let it go of our negative tendencies and with effort and determination to develop even more our good qualities. And that can be the solution for ourselves, but as we said, we depend on others. We receive so much kindness from our friends, family, strangers. So if we open our hearts and decide that we want to achieve this state of no more suffering, and to have perfected these qualities of unconditional love, unlimited compassion, we want to do this because we want to help others to do the same. So like that, we can really help them most effective and efficient way. So whatever we're gonna do today, whatever we're gonna do throughout our day, not only here, but if we think about this intention, then everything will become the causes for this result to come about. Imagine being able to help all your friends and family to not suffer at all. Then to be constantly happy, fulfilled, content. We try to do this, to use our time, our body, our speech, and our mind wisely, so we can achieve this very quickly, so we can benefit others very quickly as well. And in order to help us achieve that and to train our minds, we're going to do aspirational prayers, as we say. We're going to use this intention to train our minds by chanting some prayers that will help us develop these qualities even further. So we will take our books, the Golden Book, and we're going to start on page 35. On top of page 35. And these prayers, they help us to develop this mind of wanting to benefit others. So we start on page 35. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends and hatred for enemies. Now we go to page 34, the four immeasurables. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. Now we go to page 98, 89, maybe? No, 98. And we're going to ask all the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha to help us accomplish this. Accomplish this wish to achieve this state of no more suffering and the perfection of our qualities, which we call Buddhahood, we call enlightenment. Same. That's what enlightenment means. So, like the prostrations, we need help. We are humble enough to ask for help for those that can really help us, and not take refuge in food, Netflix, Instagram, that don't bring about the result that we want, don't bring about the elimination of our negativities, but quite the opposite, increase more and more. So we can visualize our teachers in front of us, the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all the people that we know, friends, families, people that we have difficulties with surrounding us. We are bringing them to these prayers so they can also achieve these qualities. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Very good. So with this in mind, we can continue our exploration of the book. We are exploring a book. It's a big exploration because I haven't been doing much of the book. Well, actually, I do, but I just do it differently. So we are using a book called Freedom Through Understanding by Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, our teachers. It's a very special book because it talks about how through understanding our minds, we can get freedom. And why do we need to understand our minds? Well, just did it a motivation to check that we do need to create an intention that is not the effortless one that we have. So we need to put a bit of effort to change that, to let it go of that one and create a positive one. So for that, we need to develop our minds. We need to understand our minds. We need to really connect and understand all of it. Because the problem that we have is that we don't value ourselves enough. We don't value our potential enough. Sometimes we have a value of ourselves quite the opposite of what we actually think we should have. We value ourselves as being the most special and the most precious thing of the universe. In some ways, we are. Yes, we are. But not in these fake, uh, full of filters, like when you take a photo and nowadays you have filters, That's not how we are. It's not that the precious ones that we are. We are the original. The original one is the one that we are. And especially the original that comes with that incredible potential to develop and open our hearts. That is the main thing. That is the main value that we have that we need to connect within ourselves. And that is so hard for us. We tend have a tendency to put ourselves down, to put ourselves in a kind of like negative view of ourselves. Just check. Don't believe in anything I say, especially you new one. The Buddha said like this: don't believe in anything I say, investigate. And then he added, especially what Cowden says. Don't believe in anything what Cowden says. That's what the Buddha said. But I say that because don't think that what I'm going to say here is the truth if you don't actually analyze for yourself. But then it's easy to see when we are talking to ourselves. Think about your self talk, how you talk to yourself, your inner chat. Oh, yes, yes, okay, it's okay. Something happens. You broke something, you like something what you did, like you were supposed to bring something to, like today we're gonna have a potluck lunch, and then you were supposed to make something delicious and you went completely berserk and it didn't come out good. And then how do you talk? Or you do something at work, someone shows you that, oh, this is not good, so good work. Or maybe this is not the best. Check, how do you talk to yourself? No, immediately the whip comes out and we start. Oh, I'm so bad. Oh, no, I didn't do this. Or if we don't start whipping ourselves, we want to whip the other person. We want to immediately jump into the other person and say, but it's not my fault. It's that person's fault. That person did that. That person did that. This, that. It's not me. It's not me. It's not me. No? We were discussing that the other day about that at work. You know how it easily comes this. Mind starts slowly to say, it's not me. No, no, no. And instead of kind of like acknowledging and staying with that feeling of, oh, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I was not that perfect as I thought that I was, you know, because that feeling of resistance that we have makes everything much more complicated than actually going through the process of feeling, oh, I might have done something wrong. Because when we resist, what we do is that we become tense, right? And when we start to become tense, we start to kind of like want to protect ourselves. It's easy. It's like animals are like that, or even if you think about, we do it like this, no? It's like we are protecting ourselves. And then what we start to do, we start to push people away, and we start to be snappy, and we start to be angry, and we start to be, right? Because we don't want to feel that experience of us being wrong. So what happens is that we create extra layers of sufferings and problems that if we would just stay with the first aspect, the first discomfort, the first um, like experience that was not necessarily the one that we wanted to hear because someone said that we were not good enough, then we would not be suffering these extra layers. We would just stay with that. And then we would say, and look at it, and say, wait a minute, did I did something wrong? Oh, wait, what is the person saying to me? Oh, yeah, he's saying that I should have done this instead of that. Why did I did it in this way and not in this way? Ah, because I thought that this was this and this was like this. Oh, but the person had another, and oh, okay, so it's just a miscommunication. That's it. So I just go and erase what I have to do and just do it, right? Or you just say and like, oh yeah, because I thought that this was like this, and then but the person didn't think like that. Normally, that's what it is. It's a miscommunication between yourself, what you thought you understood, and the other person's expectations. Normally, right? So it's much easier to resolve the issue like this than allow the layers and layers and layers of complication to come up. And why we have this resistance is because instead of seeing that yes, we have difficulties, we have flaws, we make mistakes, we imagine ourselves as being the pure, perfect ones that never does anything wrong. And then this idea of ourselves and who we actually are don't match. They don't match. We have these tendencies of thinking I should be like this, I shouldn't be like that, I need to do this, I need to do that, and we start to self-identifying ourselves, creating these roles and ideas, and I'm this, I'm that, I should be this, and we start to make prisons and prisons and prisons of ourselves of how we should act, how we shouldn't act. I'm a mother, I am a father, I am an accountant, I am a architect, and all of this, and we start to kind of like create those bubbles of who we think we should be. And then who we are, which is an impermanent thing, means ever changing. We are never the same. We wake up in a certain way, we go to sleep in another way. In between, we go up and down. But we hide ourselves to be in a certain way. And then how this is going to work, right? It doesn't work. So first we need to, instead of wanting to try to change the entire universe, isn't it easier if we try to understand ourselves? If we try to understand and change a little bit more our perception of ourselves and others. That is the Buddhist recipe. The Buddhist recipe, there's a very special teacher from the seventh century that he used to say, instead of wanting to put leather on the entire planet so you don't have any thorns, things that spikes that you're going to step in, it's easy to just use a flip-flop of leather. That's what you can do. That is doable. And then you can help others, that the thorns don't come and hurt them. But if you're there trying to put, leather all over the place, it's going to take a time. You're probably not gonna be able to make it. So why are we wasting our time trying to change the world? Because that's what normally we do, especially nowadays. We look at the world and then we say the world is collapsing, the world is horrible. Some people have these tendencies of seeing, politics, economic problems, and everything is bad, and new generations with Instagram and all of that. Like people start we're having now some kind of like intergeneration problems. People say, oh, these new generation don't want to work, don't want to make effort, and then the young generation say these people just destroy the planet. If you think about it, that's what we start to see. But then what is the benefit of creating this negative view? Can you do something when you're like that? No. And let's face it, you're also part of the problem. We are also part of the problem. So what we can do, transform our mind. That is the Buddhist recipe. That is what this book is all about. freedom through understanding ourselves. So we can and we need to actually create this identification instead of with these roles that kind of like create problems and these ideas that I should be like this, I shouldn't be like that. It's identification with who we really are, which is free. We are free. We don't need to be in this way or in that way. We don't need to do this in that way. We are free. We have a potential to be whatever and whoever we want to be. The problem is that we create then identification with this idea. Then I want to be like this. And then we suffer again because then it becomes narrow and tight and becomes one way instead of just staying with this openness, with these incredible possibilities that we have. That is what we call the Buddha potential, the potential to become a Buddha. And the Buddha doesn't become anything. He becomes a Buddha. He doesn't become a doctor, a father, a this, a that. He becomes a Buddha. What a Buddha means, an enlightened, a person that is free from the negativities, from the delusions, as we say. So that the Buddha just becomes someone that can does whatever you want. So you can still become a doctor, you can still become a architect, a CPA, you can still become whatever you want to do, but you can become a Buddha doing that. What it means to become someone that can help others to touch their own potential. That is what we can do. We can help others to become their even better versions of themselves. But then we need to do it ourselves. We need to become our kinder, our most patient, more loving, more kind versions. You understand? Makes sense what I'm saying? Yes? Yes? Okay, good. Makes sense? That's good. Doesn't mean that you need to believe. At least makes sense. Because from there, then we need to start saying, okay, what is stopping me to become this? What is? What is that is stopping us for being a Buddha right now? Come on. Time is over. I already done chatting. Now you guys is gonna start chatting. You're gonna learn I'm very lazy. So I ask lots of questions to you guys so I don't have to talk. Come on. Why we are not Buddhas now?
Because we're lazy.
Because what we are what? Lazy.
Yeah.
Yes, that definitely is true. Definitely is true. Especially me. I'm the laziest of all. So then it is true. But just lazy of what? What lazy means? Like because you know what am I supposed to be doing that I'm not doing? Because that's what laziness means. No, I can't. Or what am I supposed to be doing fast that I'm doing slow?
I would say anything that the person plans. You make a plan, you have a roadmap, and then it starts getting difficult and you just give up, or you postpone it on
Mm,
another day, you making it later. And then
yes.
in my experience, as soon as I make it, just say one no from many, it all starts falling apart. Just like I give up everything goes.
Okay. Very good. Who connects with what you say? Who agrees or kind of like someone thinks differently? What do you think?
I don't think everything has such a broad
Yes, everything.
generalization.
Okay.
It's not true. I think maybe specific things might have one hand that you can follow through with, but
Yes.
everything.
Everything. Okay. Okay. So so she's saying that she doesn't think it is everything that you don't put into practice or that you don't accomplish, right? Maybe one or two things. And that I kind of like I agree. I think is also that we are not everything. I always keep an eye when we say always, when we say everything, when we say never, when we say forever, you know? I always keep an eye when these words come out because then you're like, is it really like this? So that's a very good point.
Those are called
Sweeping broad generalization. That's true. That is very true. That is that true. And for us, we just say that it's not according with reality because reality is not like that. Reality is always changing. So same, same. Same, but different. There's a in Thailand they have like something like same, but different.
I do think laziness is one of the challenges we face with regards to because the question is to becoming
A Buddha, yes, that's
right?
exactly
So
this.
I think, for example, there are decisions we make sometimes, right? Am I going to watch Netflix or
Yes.
am I going to listen to this Dharma talk,
Yes.
right? So I think, so when I think of laziness, I think about it in that regard too, right?
Mhm.
And the decisions we make. Because we know doing this will help me progress along the path,
Mhm.
but doing this is going to give me that immediate gratification
Mm.
that I think happiness comes from these external objects. I'd say attachment to external objects
Okay,
is
so-
one of the problems as well that we face.
Okay, so attachment to external. Did you guys hear what he said? Yes? Yeah? Okay. So he said many things that we can explore here because then I'm going to start debating with him. Then it becomes nice. Then it becomes because if you think about, yes, you said external objects, right? So that means that watching Netflix is inherently bad. Is that what you're saying? It's bad watching Netflix. Why? So why watching Netflix is bad, and why watching Dharma talk is good for you for bringing you to enlightenment?
So
Why?
Netflix. So I immediately made that distinction, right, under the understanding that when we choose to watch Netflix, right, or look, let me see, when I choose to watch Netflix
Yes.
or YouTube,
Yes.
I'm seeking my own gratification.
Okay.
Something that I think is
But
going to make me.
why do you think that this is gratification and that is not gratification? Why? Why do you think that this
Because
is?
the motivation for studying Dharma
This is the
is different.
point.
I mean,
Yes.
maybe it's connected with my own happiness, but I also know that, like, I mean, every day when you start to engage in your Dharma practice, if you're part of this tradition, you're thinking of bodhicitta.
Yes.
Even if you're just, maybe you don't feel it today, maybe you don't really feel it in your
That's
heart.
it.
Oh, I love all sentient beings.
I love all
You're going to
the-
say the words in your head just to kind of
Yes.
develop
Yes.
that habit.
Yes.
So
Very
I think,
good.
yeah, all the activities associated with those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, obviously, it's I put it in the context of those two things, right? Because there are times where, with the wife, say, let's watch something together.
Yes.
We're making, a decision to relax and enjoy it. But there are times where I think, okay, I could probably, this is a good time to read, maybe,
Yes.
but I choose not to.
But that is the thing that is like that, what you just said describes exactly that. Oh, watching Netflix sometimes can be an object of relaxation that would help you to actually do something that is good, right? But watching Netflix can actually become just an excuse and escape from something that you know, or as Nana said, laziness, right? It can be just laziness of you not wanting to engage into something. What is stopping you when this second option? When what is stopping you from engaging with Dharma or something that different than the Netflix? What is stopping you? Laziness, I understand, but what is laziness? What is laziness comes from? Then let's describe what is laziness, right?
I guess a desire not to apply oneself, right? A desire not to engage in something that may be more mentally or physically taxing. This is just me.
Okay, okay.
Top of mind, right? On the spot, define laziness, right?
Yes, Graciela.
Well, I'm thinking if I were to choose Netflix Dharma,
Yes.
I would be believing that I'm going to feel happy at that very moment by listening to something outside.
I'll say to you guys online because she's speaking very no problem. Yeah.
Yeah, something outside, or the Dharma is feeding the way I said inside,
Okay.
not sense flesh Dharma.
Okay. Okay.
Whereas the Netflix for me, it would
Okay. So she's saying that because when she thinks about Netflix and watching Dharma, Netflix is it's a sensual pleasure thing. It's
outside.
an outside pleasure, and then when listening to Dharma in some ways is not. It's an inside. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
But I think the word is escape.
Escape.
I think see or watching that it's an escape
Yes.
from reality.
Okay.
So it's an
I
escape
like the word
from
reality.
inside itself, whereas Dharma, Buddha, that's reality going inside
Mhm.
itself.
Uh-huh.
So one is outside escape,
Yes.
lazy,
Yes.
and the other is maybe takes effort,
Okay.
which goes inside yourself,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which there is going.
Okay. Did you guys hear what she said? No? Okay, so she
No.
said very, okay, so I'm gonna repeat. So she said that actually it's about escaping. Laziness means that we are escaping in some ways, something that it will be an effort to do it, which is to do Dharma or something that will go inside of ourselves. And actually, just doing the Netflix is something that is easy and it is like you said, like a pleasure, something like that. It's an escape and it takes zero effort. Yes. The how do we said yesterday? Jackie said the less effort approach. What was she said? Remember that she said that the minimum approach, the minimal effort approach, the method of least resistance. The method of least resistance. Exactly the path. So that is okay. So that is what.
I'm sorry. Can I just say something?
Yes.
Did anybody had the experience like when you try to do this less tired things, like approach of less effort, and you actually think that it's going to be working out, it's quite the opposite. It gives the opposite result.
Yes, 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 yes. This is exactly the point. This is exactly one of the points that we're going to talk about it, Nana. Very good. Very, very good.
Thank you.
We're
Thank
gonna,
you.
so you guys, but do you agree with her? Do you understand what she's saying? That when you're actually doing something that feels that is going to do the less result, the less effort, that is like, I'm just going to stay there and then it's going to be better, just watching TV, the entire day or something like this. And then you come out of that, you feel much worse, right?
Right.
You feel like more like like almost like a zombie, almost like a feeling of like, yes, do you understand what I mean? Yes. You wanted to say something, dear?
What I was hearing when he said watching Netflix, it
Yes.
was watching Netflix with my wife.
Yes.
Therefore, that to me was a giving of himself
Yes.
to make his wife
Happy. Yes. Very good. Yeah, 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 definitely. Definitely, it's not the watching Netflix that is the problem, but it's the mind, with which mind we are watching that. If we are watching as a way to bond and connect with our partner, great, right? Because it's open our hearts, it's giving our time. Very good. But normally the problem is that when we don't, and we don't think about it, and we just go into an action that is so automatic to us, thinking that is going to create that result of happiness, right? So there is a misunderstanding of the action and the result. There's a misunderstanding of the cause and effect of that result. That action of watching Netflix will never bring a result of constant happiness, a long lasting. It can't. It is not there. It is not there. But that's what we are normally looking for in everything that we do. We are wanting this feeling. We are wanting to experience that feeling of contentment, right? Of no need for something else. And that is the difficult that we kind of like go into these situations is because it's a wrong view of how the situation exists, right? So what impedes us now to become a Buddha? It's our wrong views. So the wrong views, they create all of these different methods that we create, that we do, that become habits, right? And that instead of creating the long-term, long-lasting happiness that we want, it just brings a very instant pleasure. So what we just described here, I'm going to put it in Buddhist words for those that only understand Buddhist, is that we are having a wrong view of how situation exists. So that means we are not seeing the true reality, like the emptiness, the dependent arising of how things work, right? So we are wrong view of existence. And not only this wrong view then creates an experience of laziness, of anger, of whatever negative, unpleasant situations that we bring because of this wrong view, because acting upon this wrong view. Watching Netflix thinking that is going to make us relax and good, but is actually, as Nana said, creates the opposite result, right? And that believing in these again and again creates habits, which is karma, karmic seeds. So that means that we stay in this way of behaving again and again and again and again, and it doesn't allow us to actually become a Buddha. Does it make sense? It's very important that we understand that, because we need to understand for ourselves what is stopping us now from becoming a Buddha. So it's two aspects here. One is us believing and understanding how we can become a Buddha and trusting our full potential, which is very hard because we have the negative self-talk that we talked about. And the other is understanding what is stopping us from doing that, right? What is stopping us? Is that what we are describing now? Yes.
I have an analogy from a movie.
Okay, I like
Maybe
it.
in the movie. Disney. I don't know. You remember the movie Matrix?
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes don't to see suffering because suffering is everywhere.
Mhm.
And we don't want to see it, so we go to find small pressure. So in the movie, we live in like in the Matrix, like everything is perfect and automatic,
Yes.
and and then Neo is liberated,
Mm-hmm.
and then they started showing him
He's talking
the
about the
reality.
Matrix.
There is a scene where they said, "Welcome to the real world."
Welcome.
It's horrible.
Yes. Yes. I disagree because I feel that reality brings us to a world that is beyond our conceptualization, our possibility of thinking how good it could be. Seeing and understanding reality, bringing us closer and closer to who we actually are, and seeing things as they are, instead of making us suffer, brings the opposite. It creates even more bliss and happiness because we don't suffer. The illusion, the fighting against things as they are, it's what actually creates the suffering. It's us wanting to find happiness, long-lasting happiness in something that it gives us a very short, immediate pleasure. That idea and this can only do that. There's nothing wrong with that. This is how it is. We cannot change. I cannot change the weather. I cannot stop like make it if it's gonna rain or sun or anything like that. That's just the weather, right? But my idea that if it rains, I'm gonna be suffering forever in my mind. Or no, I'm gonna have to do this, I'm gonna have to do that I create in my mind. All of these mental sufferings because of not accepting reality. If it rains, yeah, you just put a jacket, an umbrella, and shoes, and that's it, right? So there is solutions for the problem, but we don't look for them because we don't accept the problem in the first place. We want to create ways to avoid the problem. That is the what we are describing, that we create these habits and we just go and creating and more and more and more and more and more, and we create a mess of ourselves and others.
I have a question.
Yes.
One word, skillful.
Yes.
We learn how to ride a bicycle. It's easier for skillful of swimming, or being an accountant,
Yes.
and for skillful of being a Buddhist.
Yes.
Does that make us? Is it easier to become have a good life? Be a good Buddhist?
No, no. You don't need to become a Buddhist to be skillful. You need, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama always says, he says, the best religion is that makes you a better human being. So whatever you can do in your life to become a better human being, whatever is going to help you for that, that is the best. That is the skillful way of doing it. The problem is that we try many different things and we start mixing a lot of things and it doesn't bring the result that we want. It's like, there's a recipe of a cake. And we start to say, but I'm going to put a little bit of that, I put that, there's a bit of that, and the cake becomes completely different. And then we say, oh, the recipe was not good, right? And then we're like, oh, well, it's not really like that. The cake becomes something different and it might not be what you wanted, but you also change the recipe. So there's nothing wrong with the recipe, right? So that is the problem. That is normally what we do. The path, whatever path you choose, you need to walk the path. That is important. You use the path to walk. And we say that it's good that you choose one and really try for a long period of time so you can get to check if it really works. And especially as I think as Nana said, when the situations start to go wrong and you start to get the first no, the difficult parts, the obstacles on the path, how does it help you to overcome them? It's that easy. When everything is okay, nobody comes here. There was one girl that came maybe 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, and she came and she was very sweet. And she made a question and then she said, yeah, I'm okay. I'm just going to go because I only come here when I have problems. And I love that she said that because it was very kind of like honest. Because it was very honest. Because she said, well, I come when I have problems, And I said, that's okay. That's okay if she does that, That's okay because she's looking for help. That's great. That's what. But as we say sometimes, if the karma is already ripened, if the situation is already problematic, well, it's a bit harder to get a solution. My parents are doctors and they always say it's better to prevent something, right? It's easier and it's better to prevent something than when the situation is there. Sometimes it's harder to actually take care. So you try to prevent a situation to happen. So you try to prevent to have these issues and these problems and these these emotional things. You kind of like work with what you have now. And not when the situation is already exploded and you are like, oh, please help me to clean it, And then, well, I can, but it's not going to maybe bring you the result. You wanted to say something?
Was about aversion and clinging. It's kind of like if you don't face reality, you are creating an aversion for reality. And if you create this ideal world in your mind that you're gonna end up seeking on videos or
Whatever.
social media, then you are clinging for a fantasy reality. So
Yes.
you're creating a version for what is really out there.
Yes.
And you're creating a clinging or a fantasy world that's not going to ever be there.
That's exactly this. That is exactly what I said. Did you guys hear what he said? Yes? Nana, did you? Okay. So, because what happens is that is exactly this. We create psychologically, we create our suffering comes because of this creation of this I and mine and everything, right? Who I should be, how I should be, how I should act, how I should do, how I should do. All of these are creations. They are not based in reality. You understand? They are not based in reality. So this is it's what suffocates us. That feeling of sometimes the pressure here in the chest, and then the feeling of being like, oh, I had enough. That is the creation of the mind, the illusion, right? That is the illusion that we create. And then we create layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of complication, try to get that illusion to work and to not allow that illusion to be challenged. That is what we do. Then we suffer. And then we feel tight. We don't relax. We have traumas. Everything comes from that. Right? So this is because what we call the self-centered attitude, like egoistic. An attitude is just think about me, myself, and I. And this is the biggest mistake we see it. The biggest mistake is a mistake in thinking that we are individuals in the way of independent. We are individuals, but we are not independent. We are not. We are not independent, and we are not permanent, and we don't exist by our own selves. We're just having that feeling of self-existence. You understand? Almost like a controller that we have. It's like I am, like, is we feel I'm experiencing this. What is this I that is experiencing that? Where is it? It's almost like a third part of us. It's almost like something that is like, like a king and its servants. Our emotions, our feelings, our things, they are happening to us. Which is us? What is us? Where is it? And where is this permanent that feels that I can postpone because of laziness? I can think about, no, I do it tomorrow, that thinks that you're going to be here tomorrow. What is this permanent I? And not only this permanent, but this individual, individual, not individual, independent, that thinks that we don't need the kindness of others to have food, to have shelter, to have everything. Like your body only exists because of food, because of air, right? Think about your body. Your body, if you stop drinking water, if you stop breathing, and you stop eating, the body stops functioning. Only because of that. Nothing else. You don't need anything else for dying. Just this, stopping these three things. Stop breathing, so stop getting air inside of your body, right? Stop getting water, and stop getting nutrients. That's it. You die. So we are interdependent, right? That makes us dependent on these things. Are we clear with that? We are dependent on things. What is the problem? That illusion of ourselves. We don't see us like this. We see us independent, we see us completely permanent, and we see us existing from our own side. This I exist, me, experience everything. And this is the main suffering. All of our problems come from there. And because we exist like this, then we want to protect, then we want to keep everybody away. And this is our selfish, self-centered attitude, as we say. And then we create suffering for ourselves and others. So like Nana said, now I have a question. When you're acting out of the self-centered, does it bring happiness that we are seeking? Think about it. When you are in a discussion and you want to be the last one to say the word, I am right, does it feel actually, do you really get what you want? The person is definitely storming and being so angry, you are angry. Does it bring it about the result? Nana, does it?
No, not really. The feeling is very strong. The feeling is very strong, but it doesn't,
Does it, like when we're acting out of me, does it bring this happiness?
It's interesting. I think in that moment, Fernand says it might feel nice to hear acknowledgement that you were right, but I think you have to consider all the experiences that led up to it, right, as well. So it's like, sometimes I try to remind myself, I heard recently, like, for every 60 seconds you're angry, you lose a minute of happiness, or something like that.
Mhm.
Because you can't have both simultaneously. But yeah, there's a lot of pain and suffering leading up to it. And also, I guess if you really are familiar with the teachings on karma, your experience of joy in that moment wasn't caused by the negative action, but rather virtuous action in the past. I think, yeah, it might feel in a moment that it was,
Mhm.
you know, that satisfaction, but I guess that the question is, you know, what, I guess potentially what damage did you cause to a relationship? Did you strengthen your habit for wanting to be happy? I think there's so many.
If we go in a very kind of like more superficial level, does it create harmony between you and the person? Does it create harmony between you and your partner, you and your family, you and your society? Did it create a nice environment to be at, right? That is easy to understand. It's easy to see that when someone is exploding, if you're having an argument or something like that, normally the harmony is zero. The feeling, the nice, pleasant experience, which we might think that it is like, oh yes, it's actually is like Nana said, is watching Netflix and then realizing that it didn't help. You understand? It becomes worse. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same experience. Yes, dear.
I think the person that has to finish last and
Yes.
have that experience, they're dealing with their ego
Yes,
and
exactly.
the control.
That's it.
right?
That's
They're not
exactly
willing to, they need to be right and finish, but when they walk away from that, you know, they might be like, ha, I got you, but
Yes.
really, how could that feel good inside?
That is exactly this. That is exactly what it is. When you are being selfish, how can it feel good inside? It doesn't, right? It's exactly what how Nana described. It does not. It can't. It, we can experience as good, but it's actually just an absence of suffering. You understand? It is still in the nature of suffering, that pleasant experience. Because
But you can't just let people roll over you because you're afraid of your own ego. You have to have boundaries also, yeah?
absolutely, boundaries are very, very important. But boundaries doesn't need to be a gun. Boundaries can be a flower.
You have to have emotional.
You understand?
intelligence.
Yes.
That's when it's like,
Yes.
instead of saying, you're wrong, I'm right, it's like, okay.
What is
wait,
my
to make
part?
me feel This.
Yes. What
I
is my
understand
part?
What you're feeling.
That's it.
But there's no need for pointing and
But
yelling.
how-
It all started.
Absolutely. But how do we get there, right? How do we get to that maturity of emotional intelligence to understand that, oh, wait a minute, it's not about blaming others. It's not about me having the last situation, because that's what we are. Remember, we are in spontaneously, effortlessly being selfish, spontaneously, effortlessly being angry, wanting to be the last one. So it is a kind of like an effort, isn't it? It's an effort that we need to make. It's a training. It's something that we need to kind of like say, oh, wait a minute, I don't need to do that. So in the case, Don, I totally agree that we need to have boundaries, but it's how we put those boundaries, right? The boundaries don't need to be like a wall and don't need to say, get out of here, but we can put boundaries with kindness, with compassion, with understanding our own mind and understanding that whatever we're going to say is going to affect the other person in front of us. So it's through understanding the reality of the situation that we put boundaries, right? Is not about compassionate love and kindness and all of these situations. Is not about letting people use you as a doormat. Not at all. Quite the opposite. Is you being strong and being extremely kind of like skillful, as Steve said, being skillful in using the best approach to actually get what you want, right? Not by kind of like hurting people, you're gonna get what you want.
May I ask a question, please?
Yes, Elaine, absolutely.
So my
And then you,
question,
okay.
my question is, so let's say you get your feelings hurt. Or
Yes.
someone steps on your toes, I mean emotionally. What is, I mean, if there's no I, what is being bothered? What is reacting if there's no I?
So if I go now to your house and I pinch you in your arm, are you gonna feel me like, you know, like it being the pain, right?
Yes.
And if someone's step on your toes, you also feel hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a conventional I that is there existing.
Okay.
What it doesn't exist is this imaginary illusion I that is independent, permanent, and self-sufficient, or, you know, existing from its own side. And the hurt, the feeling of being hurt, only comes because of wrongly believing in this. That's what the Buddhist is going to say. So that is why it's so important that we understand the difference, that if we don't actually, if we see things as being interdependent, we know that if we are receiving some sort of being hurt, is because we created the causes for that, right? So then we start to take advantage of understanding that and say, oh, if I act with anger, then I'm going to have not only now more suffering, but in the future again. So I'm not going to do it. So I'm going to not allow him to step on me, like Don said, but I'm going to put boundaries with love, kindness, and compassion. We're going to use things like practice patience. I'm going to use antidotes, kind of like thinking about compassion. Equanimity. I'm going to see that this person, if he's screaming at me, is because he's also suffering the same way that I am suffering. So we're going to do we can use so many tools to not engage into the reflection, into the self-automatic response of just wanting to fight back and, you know, having the last word. Right? Yes, Claudia.
Thank you. Yeah, I really agree to both of you what you said, and I wanted to add about like the thing of like being assertive, but in a loving way, and like it reaches a point that like when you're in an argument, you acknowledge that the other person has these needs, and then you have these other needs, and there are different needs. So you end up having to like search a compromise between the two of you. And because you're aware of the other's needs, then you become less angry and you become less resented and less judgmental, and therefore your assertiveness comes much more gentle, if that makes. But you
Yes,
also
very good, Claudia.
you also first have to kind of calm yourself down, as like maybe try first like remove yourself from the situation, have like maybe some time, like maybe an hour or two, to reflect on
A glass of water, or, you know, like, or that Shantideva used to say in the 6th chapter of Patience, he says, you can walk away if it is too much, or he used to say, you stay like a piece of wood. I always like that. This is what Shantideva used to say. But that's what you're saying is very important. But you know what is the most important of what you said, Claudia? Is the part that you say, you think about the other person's needs. So what we are doing when you're doing that is exactly the key point, the kind of like the turning point, which is when we are suffering, we are completely self-absorbed. We're just thinking about ourselves. When we want to achieve a space of happiness, just a second, when we want to achieve this space of happiness, what we do is that if we open our hearts to the other person and we check that other person's needs, then I have the intelligence to say, oh, there's two people here. Why my happiness only is the one that counts? How I can also fulfill both our happiness. So then you start to think about, oh, there is someone more than just me. And that creates in our heart a space for us to deal with that situation in a totally different way. For example, when people are kind to you, how do you feel? How do you feel? How it is your appearance when when people are kind to you? Do you feel bad? Do you feel, oh, stop this, it's so bad, oh no, this is like torture? No, like you're just like, you know. So how do you think that people feel when you are nice to them and kind to them? How? Our minds, the way that the functioning of the mind is exactly the same, right? We have the same type of experiences coming from completely different things, right? Someone likes a peanut, someone doesn't like it, so it's just different. But the idea of that pleasant feeling, very similar to all of us. When someone is kind and caring about you, you feel good, you like that. The other person, when they are receiving, how do you think that they feel? So having that understanding opens our hearts towards others. So what Don said about how do we put ourselves limits, if we have this understanding in mind, at that moment, our limit is going to be done with kindness and care. The limit is still done, but the kindness and the care is the method. This is exactly what the Buddhist talks about.
That's the difficult part.
That is the difficult part.
There's so many problems every day, and you want to help the problem. Somebody has that somebody, and how do you be kind to them and tell them they can be have more friends and so on if they take care of their breath?
Yes.
As opposed to being very offensive and complaining.
Because the complaining part is just a habit, right? Is a habit that we have been doing and creating because of the wrong view. So that's why we need to have the understanding and the wisdom first to see how we are mistaken in our wrong views. That's why what we talked today, right? We talked about the wrong views, the basic, that having been the basis of the problems, the wrong view. And if we do that, then we have the method part, the compassionate, the understanding that the other person wants exactly the same. So we use by wanting what, because if we are caring, it's the same thing that I explained to the guy yesterday in the metro, in the train. If you are caring to someone else, you have much more possibility of receiving care. And that's what you want. Don't, I was going to use a swearing word. I would say don't be that, that you don't want to be taken care of. Yes, you want. Yes, you want to be kind. People kind to you. Yes, you want people to be nice to you. Yes, you want people to be, generous to you. How you're creating the causes for that if you're screaming at the person? That's how you do it. Because you understand.
I apologize. There's one more question for quite a long time in the chat that I had to ask it. So isn't it okay to escape or replenish sometimes? Elaine is asking.
So it depends on what escape and replenish means.
I guess it's about the laziness. I don't know, Elaine, you want to elaborate a little bit?
Yes, it was back, excuse me, when you were talking about Netflix. It was like 100 questions ago, but
yes.
Yeah, I guess like my question was like sometimes my conventional I just needs to escape because I'm overloaded by life.
That's perfect. It's okay, right? As long as the motivation for doing that is because you want to have enough energy and space and having a warm heart to help others when you are full of energy again, right? So everything in your life can become dharma, can become a way to achieve that last happiness that you want if there is this incredible clear understanding and intention in your head. So we can. Yeah, there's no problem, you know, like people sometimes like I like to go to the beach, especially on Fridays, because the day that I don't give teachings, I go to the beach. And then people say, oh yes, like a monk going to the beach. Oh, you should be doing so many things. Some of the monks, they beat themselves up because of that, right? And I go very happy because I know that I become relaxed, I become very, really, and then I can stay doing everything that I do, talking to hundreds of thousands of people a week, you know, giving talks and teachings. I have so much space because I just went over there. I think that the beach is going to bring me lasting happiness. No way. No way. Right? I know that the beach is just going to help my body to relax, me to be a bit relaxed, a little bit like decompressed by things. And I know that it's going to finish and I'm going to go back to doing what I have to do.
It's a reset.
It's a reset, but I understand there's a reset. That is the difference. It can be a reset, but if I don't understand there's a reset, then it doesn't make the result that it has to be. Just a reset, right? Yes, Graciela. The question is, how do you change habits and skillfully? How do you change habits skillfully? By understanding them, the negative aspects of them. If you understand that everything that we're discussing here, if you understand that by screaming at others, you're not gonna get the result that you want, then whenever you're gonna want to scream to them again, the habit comes, you say, ah, wait a minute. If I do that, I'm not gonna get what I want. Exactly like Nana said, if I start to observe that every time I watch Netflix for 3 hours, I come out as a zombie. So next time that I'm going to start engaging into it, I'm going to have that in the back of my mind. I'm going to say, oh, I don't want that. I don't want to come out as a zombie. So after the second episode, I'm going to stop. Right? So then you need to work with the negative aspect of it, and then you need to use an antidote. So we have antidotes for every negativity, right? So when we're talking about attachment, we need to think about impermanence. We need to think about compassion. We need to think about wisdom, understanding that the beach is not going to bring you lasting happiness. That is wisdom. Or when you are angry, you know that anger gives a bad taste in your mouth, makes you heavy, tight. You stay with that the entire day with this, and sometimes years. That person becomes bitter, right? And when you're angry and then you what you do is become snappy at others, right? You start to become less patient, less this. So you see that this creates a wrong energetic kind of like experience with others. So you see the faults, but you cannot fight it because it just immediately comes. So when it comes, you need to be aware of where it's there, when it's there. So you check your body, you say, I'm feeling the tightness, I'm feeling my hands sweating, I'm feeling me becoming red. You know, I have a friend that so easy, he becomes red very easy. So I always make fun of him. I say, ah, you're becoming red. And he's like, then he becomes more angry. But then he's a monk. So he says, I'm becoming angry. Now I can change. Right? I don't need to follow that mindset. I don't need to follow that mindset. So what I do, oh, wait a minute, what do I need? I need space. I need that. I need this. I need to chill out. I need to do something. You become your own therapist. You become your own, like, kind of like science project, right? You go checking, but for doing that, you need to have the freedom to be whoever you have to be and not conform to who you think you should be. Oh, I shouldn't be feeling this, or I should be, or I am like this. I tell what I say, or I tell what I want, you know, things like that. The people identify themselves. No, I am like that. I say whatever I need to say to people, you know, like people like that. And then you say, you don't need to be like this. You can shut up, you know? So those misunderstandings of how we are, it's what creates that idea that we cannot change. So if we don't have these identifications, then we can be whatever we want. And we can just kind of like walk away if we have to walk away. We can do this if we have to do this. We can kind of like, you know, sleep if we have to sleep. If we need to drink some water, if we need to do this, you can do whatever you need. If you understand that doing something with a negative mind creates an unpleasant experience for you now and will create a habit for you in the future, and you don't want to do it again. Right? That is how you and then the more you do it, the easier it becomes, like everything else. And then, as Steve was saying, but so many things happen in our daily lives. Great, because you have then incredible opportunities to practice. Right? Then we should be very happy, because then we are like, wow, everything that I do can become possibility of changing. Right? Oh, my family this, my partner, my boss, my work, my people like in the supermarket, my people at like oh society, life, president, everything becomes dharma, becomes a possibility of you changing your mind, seeing things in a true, authentic way, freeing yourself. So special. Then it becomes joyful. Steve, you told me that you wanted to go to Brazil to become joyful. You don't. What you do, you practice Dharma, then you become joyful, right? Because then everything, life becomes a place. Everything becomes a way for you to open your heart. Because that is the thing, is that we should make a strong determination inside of ourselves. I will use from right now to the rest of my life my body, speech, and mind to help others, to not create suffering for others, to not engage in my negativities, to not engage in my habitual patterns. So we need to reinforce this motivation. In the end, that is the job. But for doing that, we need to pass through all of these steps. So, because enlightenment, Buddhahood, is a result. You cannot become a Buddha just by I want to become a Buddha. No, you need to create the causes and conditions. So if you create the causes and conditions, if you don't want, you become a Buddha. That's how special it is, the mind. That's how special our lives can be. Danny, you wanted to say no?
I was going to say life is a bitch. I mean beach.
A beach. Life is a beach. It is. Exactly. Both. That's exactly this. So that is what it is that if we can realize that this excessive concern for our own pleasures and ourselves creates more suffering than actually creates what we want. If we can create this strong determination to use our body, speech, and mind to let it go of being right and being able to open our hearts and think about how kind people have been to us and what we want to give them is only kindness and love, then your life is going to be meaningful, pleasurable, everything that you want. Everything that you want right now, you're going to achieve. Okay? So that is the idea. If I do a lot of blah, blah, blah. And sometimes very tiring because like you guys have to be listening to me here, blah, 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 blah. But if you just try to bring this to mind and make it your own, make it your own. Okay? And then this becomes practice. Then this becomes alive, and this becomes yours. Dharma is yours. It's not here, it's not there, it's not in me, it's in you. Okay? Yes, do you want to be?
How do you let go of by not identifying? Like, oh, I'm Brazilian, that's all I want to be. Oh, I'm strong-willed, that's why I have depressive. So not identifying, letting that go, and instead say, how can I work on myself?
How can I work on myself? How I don't identify with the roles and the labels. Yes?
Get rid of the labels.
Because the labels.
Right, let go of that identity.
Because the labels, you understand that the labels are not true. They are not true. Nothing is permanent. The labels makes us permanent. You understand? The labels, it's like a Brazilian word, engessar. It's like it stops us. It's kind of like it hides us, and it's how do I say a prison to us. It imprisons us, the labels. So whenever your mind is becoming narrow and you say, this is the way, or I am like that, I'm always being like this, it's already there. You need to check. Just check. Because then it is a self-identification with something that is not real. So then, with mindfulness, with awareness, with training, with observing this again and 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 again, for lifetimes, as we say in Buddhism, it's going to become less and less and less until it just dissolves. It's not there anymore. It doesn't create, right? So it's like, if I would think, Lama Yeshe used to say, if the people, monks and nuns, think that when they put in the robes of monks and nuns, their suffering, their attachments are gone, everything's gonna go away because they're putting some robes, shaving some hair, they're totally nuts. Because doesn't know. You're just transferring the problem. Same. We still suffer, we still have the attachments and all of that. It's different. Now no attachment for girlfriend, boyfriend, but now attachment for like oh yeah, the clothes all sitting well, oh yeah, speaking well, or being the nice person, and like oh look at me, I'm so holy. Same, right? Same. The mind, wherever you go, the mind is gonna be there. Whoever you are, the mind is gonna be there. Whatever you do, your mind is gonna be there. It's better for you to work with your mind. Make it your friend. Make it your friend to work for you to get what you want. What do you do? How do you do that? Open your heart to others. Think about others. Don't think only about yourself. That is the goal. That is the only way of doing it. And then you're gonna get what you want. I know it's hard because the mind thinks, no, 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 no. The more I actually do for myself, the more happy I will be. No, it's the opposite. Right? So if I'm generous to others, I will be generous. If I'm kind to others, I'm gonna receive. Even if the other person might not be, but someone else saw that you were kind to this person, and then they're going to be kind to you. Right? It's hard. It's hard to even conceive this idea right now. But the more we practice, the more we experience. That's what I'm saying, what I said to her. Experience for yourself. Don't believe in anything I say. The moment you start to experience, then you start to see, well, that crazy monk over there, blah, 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 might have something that he says makes sense. Might. But you need to experience for yourself. Okay? So thank you so much for being here. For being listening to this blah blah blah. I'm sorry I passed over. It's because I'm Brazilian, so I'm always late. No, I just so thank you so much. So every time that we finish an activity, in the way to kind of like keep this energy, this positive energy that we created, going through the positive to a positive result, we do what we call a dedication. That's what we do. We dedicate that energy. So we do this exercise of not thinking about ourselves, but we dedicate for others this good energy, right? So that makes us continue going into the right direction. So everything that we heard, everything that we talked, everything that we discussed, everything that today was so nice. Thank you so much for participating, everybody. I love these. I love these kind of like people talking, and it's very, very nice. Becomes alive, becomes ours, not mine, ours. We are co-creating our Dharma. That's the idea. And then from that, everything that we kind of like contemplated, we meditated, our intention, may it be so we can really, 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 really find the lasting happiness, long lasting happiness. So we can totally, totally, totally eradicate our sufferings from our mind. And from doing that, may we be able to help others to do the same. We dedicate for that end. And for that, we need to open our hearts. We need to help others, to think about others as well. That's what we're doing. When we are dedicating this way, we are creating that habit in our minds of thinking about others. And we would not be here if it was not for the kindness of our teachers who actually taught us this, that it is even a possibility of thinking about others. It's even a possibility of us finding lasting happiness. And especially for someone like the Dalai Lama, His Holiness, who embody those teachings, and it is a beacon of light and harmony and kindness and generosity and compassion towards all beings. So for him, His Holiness to have a long and stable and healthy life. And we dedicate that with doing what we just did today, we are creating also the causes for the wars, famine, natural disasters, any problems, any difficulties, sickness, all of the conflicts there are in the world right now to cease. Because if we decide to respond with kindness and love and compassion towards the other people, there's no wars, no conflict, no nothing. In this way, we dedicate for all of these to come about quickly, very quickly. And we dedicate for places like here, Thubten Kungaling, which is a place for everybody to come. Everybody to come and learn about ways to deal with their emotions, with their heart, with their minds. May they continue to have all the necessary conditions to continue these activities. And may continue spreading the love and kindness and wisdom of the Buddha, just like us, realize his potential and taught us to realize ours. So we're going to dedicate, we're going to do some aspirational prayers. We start on page 200 and no, 235. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen rise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, I too dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by the victorious ones thus gone of the 3 times, so I might perform good works. I dedicate whatever virtues I have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of perfect, pure Lozandrapa to shine forever. Now we go to 246. May all beings everywhere plagued by sufferings of body and mind obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food, may the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy, may the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be free from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Now we go to page 244 for the long life prayer for the Dalai Lama. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, Please remain until samsara ends. And now we go to page 234. Or we're gonna do it on the screen as well. Swift return for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, our teacher, who passed away last year, and who without his kindness we would not have this center, and we'll not even hear about this possibility of changing our lives. Healers, teacher, and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings, through explanation and practice, you are the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway to reach all benefit and happiness and merge, and from other living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the oceans of the three jewels, and the great ways of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly be beaming in glory for fortunate disciples. Oh my. Thank you very, very much. Have a good Sunday. And see you during the activities during the week. Our morning meditations, morning and Wednesday, teachings on Thursday and Sunday. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. Thank you, everybody.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.